Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome. I hope you guys can hear me. There is a bit of noise going on outside there, but I hope it's not going to disturb this session. Yeah, thank you for the feedback. Right, so this afternoon we're going to have an activity. The activity is based on the House of Quality, so that we can, get more insight on how to build a house of quality, whether from scratch or based on specific instructions. So for this current session, we're going to have a case study. So from that case study, we're going to extract the necessary information in order to fill in the template. So this also needs to be clear before we start. I think I have already mentioned it, but let me repeat it again. If you're asked to build a house of quality from scratch, if it's the entire class said, okay, go and build a house of quality, probably based on a specific product, obviously, you guys will come up with different houses of quality. But in this case here, the house of quality will be built based on specific instructions. So that is to say, all of us should come up with the same house of quality in this case. So let me quickly share my screen so that we discuss from there. And also, no, I'm not ready to share. Let me stop so that I can open the page already. I was saying that the activity that we are going to unpack right now is also available on Moodle. So you do have the activity. For some students, we have already tried the question on their own. That's great. So we can just be here to ensure you can double check whether what you have done there is the correct way of doing that to solve the question or to unpack the question. So I just want to open the template before I start sharing my screen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me share my screen once again. Beautiful stuff. Right, so this is the case study that we are going to unpack. So let's just try to read this case study so that we can, all know what is really going on here. So the case study is about Dell Computers. It says that Dell Computers is developing a new software program that will be run in their new generation of laptops. Dell has a strict policy of always providing the customers with what they want. This is why Dell has been the leader in the market for a while. The research and development department at Dell has been implementing quality function deployment for the development of all of Dell Computers products. Now, you say you have been assigned to work in their design team. As part of the design team task, you must develop a house of quality for this new software. The first task was to obtain the what from the customers. So obviously, Dell needed to undertake a market research in order to identify the customer's requirement which are also called the whats or customer desires. They say the market research team has provided your team with the following information about what the customer wants in the product. So these are the requirements from the customers. Number one, you have reliable or resilient. 2, accurate. 3, fast. 4, responsive. 5, secure. Up to number 8, which is scalability. So when you have this what's provided in this order, you must make sure that when you are also building the house of quality, you also keep the same order. Don't change, don't mix up anything there. If you do that, you're going to have something different compared to what is being instructed to do. So you need to bear that in mind. Now they say together with their respective importance ratings. So 9, 10, up to 2 here. So these are the ratings of this customer want. So as I said, you must not change the order here. Now, let's carry on. It says, after considering the customer's requirement, your design team has identified how the product will be able to satisfy the customer's want and came up with the following. So now what you see here, these are the things that the organization or Dell can do in order to meet this requirement here. After identifying or obtaining this customer's what or customer want or customer requirement, now Dell will ask itself some questions. How are we going to satisfy this customer requirement? That is where this house comes in. You can call them house or product attribute, all the things that the company can do. Now, we have 1, availability. 2, R3 conformity. 3, password times 2. 4, internet compatibility, up to the last one here, which is firewalls. You see, as part of the process of building the house of quality, your team has assessed each how against one another and provided the following relationship levels. So this bullet here are representing the relationships within the roof, because that is where you establish the relationship levels amongst the things that the organization can do, the thing that Dell can do. Now, let's move on. We'll come back to it. So after assessing the way your product will satisfy customers' requirements, your team moved on and worked on the relationship between your house and the what. So this is basically you are now translating customers' want into the product attribute or into the product. This we are talking about the relationship matrix. You see, the outcome of the assessment is as follows. So we have this bullet here, right, that are giving you the information that you need in order to fill in the section about the relationship matrix. So again, we'll come back to this information. Now, this section here is talking about the competitive assessment, and I explained this when we were covering chapter 5 and still under the House of Quality. This is the section about the competitive assessment, how other competitors products are able to satisfy the current customer wants. So this one, you guys going to do it on your own. If you don't understand afterwards or you're struggling, you can come and see me so that we can engage on this. Now, I say your team was convinced that all this information was sufficient to go ahead and construct a house of quality. The expected result from building the house of quality was that it will ensure that the team's eventual software as well as hardware design actually meets the need of its customers. Now, here's the question. It's based on the information provided in the case study, build the house of quality. So in this house of quality, we also have the legend that is provided here. This is extra information that we need in order to build the house of quality. So looking at this case study, we have sufficient information that we really need in order to build the house of quality. And that is exactly what we are going to do. Now, there is a template here that we are going to make use of. This template here. During the test also, in the test that you guys are going to write, I'll provide you guys with the template. So it will depend on the kind of questions. Basically, the questions on the house of quality can take two ways. The first type of questions about the house of quality, I can provide you guys with a case study like this one. And then from that case study, you are going to build a house of quality, obviously based on the case study. You build the house of quality. After building the house of quality, now you are going to answer the questions that are online. So you build the house of quality first, and then you answer the questions that are online. That's what could happen during the test. The other way that you can also have some questions related to the house of quality is that I can provide you guys with a house of quality already constructed or built, and then I will ask you questions based on that house of quality. So those are the two ways that you should be expecting in the test. So the bottom line here is that you just need to know how to build a house of quality, especially based on the information provided or on a case study. Once you know how to do that, whatever kind of questions that are going to come in the test, you should be able to, unpack them. Now, let's go back to our template. So this is the template that you have. Now in this template here, this side here is the customer requirement or the what. Here is the things that the organization Dell can do in order to satisfy the customer's requirement. Or these are also called the house or the attribute. And here is the roof of the house. Here you have to establish the relationships amongst the house. So we're going to do that. And in this section here, this is the relationship matrix, right? You have to establish the different relationships. Down here is our importance ratings. So these importance ratings here are going to guide Dell in terms of resources allocation, where they should put more effort. Now, let's jump straight into it. Let's start with the what. So again, at this point, you're not creating anything. You are just using the information at your disposal. You are not creating anything. You just need to extract the appropriate information. So here they say the first task was to obtain the what from the customers. The market research team has provided your team with the following information about what the customer wants in the product. So these are the customer's requirements. So I'll just copy, and I told you must not change the order here. Copy the first what for the first customer requirement. I'll come and paste here. Here it's copying and pasting. You're not creating anything, right? So keep doing that. Let me copy the third one. And then I'll copy the last one. At least you guys know, understand what's going on here. Please feel free to let me know if you don't understand so that we can quickly go back and explain. And so on up to the last what. Here is number 8, scalability. So let me put scalability here. Beautiful. So, and then you're filling all this. Now, once this is done, you move on to customer importance ratings. And obviously, this information is provided also in the case study. They say together with their respective importance ratings. So we also need to report, right, this or extract these ratings. So here, the first one is 9. So that means that reliable or resilient, they have a rating of 9. Accurate here is 10. Fast is 7, and so on to the last one. All right. So here you have 9, 10. I think fast is 7, and so on up to the last one. I think the last one is 2. All right. Now, your customer what is now fine. So we're gonna move on to the product attribute section. Again, we're gonna go back to the case study. From the case study here, it says that after considering the customer's requirements, your design team has identified how the product will be able to satisfy the customer's wants and came up with the following. So these are the hows. So we also need to do the same thing as we did with the customer wants. You copy. The first one here is availability. Again, you must not change the order. The second one here is R3 conformity. So I'm gonna have R3 conformity here. Okay, let's write the third one is password times 2. Let's copy password times 2. Oh, hold on. Password times 2. Up to the last one here, which is number 8, firewalls. Right. So once you do that correctly, you will be able to see something like this. So here, the what section is completed, and also the how section is completed. So everything is in order here. Now, once this is ready, you now move on to the roof. You have to complete the roof here. Now, again, the information that you need in order to establish the relationships in the roof here is in the case study. It says here, as part of the process of building the house of quality, your team has assessed each house against one another and provided the following relationship levels. These are the relationships that we need to established in the roof amongst the house. Now, let's start with the first bullet. It says availability and intranet compatibility have a negative relationship. Beautiful. So here we are going to identify availability and intranet compatibility. So let's go back to our template. Availability, let's just put a different color there. And then they say intranet compatibility. Is intranet compatibility. Maybe let's put a different color here. Right. So now one thing that you need to know here, you need to know how to extend this column here into the roof. That is the key so that you will know the exact intersection, right? So for any column within this middle here or within this section here, you will always have two options in terms of extending a column. However, for this first and last column, you only have one option. For example, for availability, you have to extend this column. It's basically like this line here going up and then going this way. This line here coming here and going this way. So this column here, if you're extending it, we have to extend it this way. This is the only option that you have. Now coming back to intranet compatibility here, you have two options. You can extend this way, or you can extend it this way. Since we are looking for the intersection between intranet compatibility and availability, that means that the extension of intranet compatibility here must be this way so that you can have the intersection right here. And this is where you are going now to input the correct relationship symbol, right? So here it's telling us that they have a negative relationship. You remember the legend that was provided. So we're going to make use of this legend here in order to place the appropriate symbol. Since it's a negative relationship, you can see here a negative relationship is represented by this symbol. So we'll just take that symbol, so copy it and come and paste it here. You have to paste it exactly where the intersection is. So I have to drag it here and put it right here. So this means availability and intranet compatibility have a negative relationship as per the legend, right? So once you are done with that, let's look at the second bullet here. You say R3 conformity and memory requirement have a strong negative relationship. A strong negative relationship. So again, let's identify R3 conformity and memory requirement. R3 conformity is here. Memory requirement is here. So the extension here is to ensure that the two will meet in the roof. So memory requirement, you will go this way. R3 conformity, you will go this way. Now, the intersection between this extension and this one here will be right here. This is the intersection. Now, they are saying that they have a strong negative relationship. And looking at the legend here, this is the symbol that describes a strong negative relationship. So that is between R3 conformity and memory requirement. It must be here. R3 conformity and memory requirement. Just want to make sure that that is exactly where I want. Okay. Good. Yeah. So you can see it's not that difficult. You just need to extract the information from the case study and then fill in the house. So you guys could carry on with the remaining relationships levels here. Now, let me show you as I've already done it so that you guys can see what's going on here. So these are the annotation that I put just to help you in terms of extending the column and know how to input the appropriate relationship symbol. So this is what is here. So once you are done here, you're now going to move on to where you have to create or establish the relationships between the what and the things that the company can do. So the attribute or the house. Now, how do you go about establishing the relationships here? Again, we are going to make use of the case study. The information is there. You just need to extract it correctly. So, they said here, after assessing the way your product will satisfy customers' requirements, your team moved on and worked on the relationship between your house and the what? The outcome of the assessment is as follows. So this is the information that you need in order to complete the relationship matrix section. So let's look at the first bullet. The first bullet here says that reliable or resilient has a medium relationship with availability as well as passwords times 2, but a weak relationship with the interface. Beautiful stuff. There is a lot of information here, so let's just try to break it down. We're going to consider this first part first, relationship between reliable and availability. And they say here they have a medium relationship. So, resilient, this is the column for resilient, the row for resilient, and the availability, right? Yeah, and availability is here in this column. Let's put a different color. So we are looking for this intersection here in order to input the correct symbol. And they said here they have a medium relationship. So looking at the provided legend, medium relationship is described by this a symbol. So I'm gonna just copy this symbol here and put it at the intersection of reliable and availability. So just need to shift that up properly. Beautiful. So this says reliable and availability have a medium relationship. Beautiful. Let's move on with the to the next part. availability, as well as passwords. So password and reliable, they have a medium relationship. Password, what is password now? Here's password here. So password and resilient, they have a medium relationship. So it's still the same symbol that we're going to use. Straightforward. Now, going back to the case study again, it says, but a weak relationship with interface. So let's identify where interface is. Here's interface. And here, it's a weak relationship. So a weak relationship is described by this symbol here. So just copy that. Here's, I think it's interface. It's interface. Yeah, interface. So I'll just input that weak relationship symbol here. All right. So we are done with this bullet here. So let's also try the second one quickly, and then the rest probably you can fill in. You can deal with that on your own. Accurate has a medium relationship with R3 conformity and a strong one with database. So accurate and R3 conformity. Accurate R3 conformity. So we are here within this cell. Accurate and R3 conformity, they have a medium relationship. So since they have a medium relationship, I can just copy what's here. And then I paste it right here. Beautiful. So accurate and R3 conformity, they have a medium relationship. Now, it says here, and a strong one with database. A strong one with database. So what is database? We do have database here. And so that is accurate and database. So this, we need to look for the symbols that describe a strong relationship. And is that symbol here. So I paste it here, drag it to the middle. So this means that accurate and database, they have a strong relationship as described here. All right, and the rest you can do is the same approach. So you can just follow those steps. So once you do that, you will be able to come up with this relationship matrix. It will look like this. Okay, these are again extra annotations just to help those who cannot find the proper cell for the intersections. So once you do this properly, you will be able to come up with this relationship matrix. Now, the next thing that we are going to do in this case, we're going to look at or compute our importance ratings. So how do you go about addressing our importance ratings here? Usually what I do, especially for online tests, you need, the tests need to be really specific. So for these importance ratings, I usually give them some kind of names, right? I can call this one, let me just do this. I can call this one John. I can call this one better. Yes, like that, better. I can call this one Watch. Anyway, we can give other names there, right? Xavier. Can call this one Bob, and so on, right? So that will be the numbers that are required within these specific cells. Hold on, something happened there. Good. So now, what is happening here? Or I can even call here, depending, I can call A, B, C, D. So it depends. So now, you're going to focus on this. If you are calculating John, for instance, you're going to check where you have the symbols. The focus is on the cells with the symbols. Here you have one symbol here. Here you have another one here. Here you have another one here. So meaning that the focus is on these three symbols here. So how do you go about calculating for instance, John here? Okay, I just remove for the purpose of this. This is too long. Let's just call it A, B, C, D, and so on. So in this case here, we're going to calculate A. That will be equals to, you're going to take 9 times the number behind or the number associated with this symbol. Again, if you go back to the legend here, each symbol here is associated with a specific number. So medium relationship, the number associated with that is 3. So we're going to have 9 times 3. So 9 times 3 plus, between brackets, we're going to have 7 times the number associated with this symbol here. Here we have 9. So that is going to be 7 times 9. 7 times 9 plus, because you still need another symbol there, plus 4 times the number associated with this symbol here. 4, that's 1. So that's going to be 4 times 1. I think everything is in order here. We have covered all the symbols within this column. So we just press enter. And the answer here is 94. So that is the answer for A. Let's look at B also, because it's still the same thing. Again, here we have 3 symbols. So that is where our interest will be. So where the cell is empty, you just leave it like that. You don't touch it. That is none of your business. You just leave it. Here we're going to have 10 times 3, 4 times 3, and here is 2 times 3, because the medium symbol is associated with 3. So we're going to have here, I'm going to use Excel again. We're going to have 10 times 3, 10 times 3 plus 4 times 3, 4 times 3 plus 2 times 1, 2 times 3, sorry, 2 times 3, right? It's this one here. Press enter. So that gives us 48. So 48 is the score or the rating for B. And then you will we do the same thing for the remaining ratings here. And that's how you build a house of quality from scratch. For this one here, for this question, you guys will need to also complete this section, the competitive analysis. Try to do it. As I said, if you're having issues there, you can come and see me, and then we can double check whatever you have done. So once you do that, you will come up with this. Let me remove this because this might confuse some student. Just remove this. So you will come up with this house of quality and this ratings. So this is the final house of quality. Obviously, I'm going to share this with you guys so you can try on your own whether you're going to come up with the same results here. So that's how you proceed when you are asked to build a house of quality based on specific instructions. Are we all on the same page? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are approaching the end of this session. I hope that was insightful. So let's quickly take the attendance register and then we can disappear. So let me create the attendance quickly. I'll post obviously the case study is already there. I'll post the memo tonight or tomorrow so that you guys can test your understanding in terms of building the house of quality. Again, if you have questions and after doing you're still having trouble, you can come and consult. You can come and consult with me, or you can come and consult with your tutor. So let me create this. I'm gonna give you guys until 35. So let's expire at 3:35. Okay. Man serve group DFC. Our password for today is number 3. That is our password, number 3. Okay, let me check quickly if you guys can see this, but I believe you can see. Student. Yes, that should be visible on your side. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending the session, and I'll see you when I think I'm on my way out.